The conversations that I am having is one that we need because I am the only one talking like this. And until you start pointing out who the real culprits are, it's not going to change. This is a very specific problem that starts from a particular people with a very, very, very singular mindset. They want to be our gods. And when you acknowledge them as your ruler by trying to negotiate with them for your fundamental human rights, you are basically admitting that they are your gods. I'm telling you, we don't need them to give us permission to live as human beings. I'm telling you this. We don't need their permission, but we do need some unity. And this goes back to the video that I did. We need some unity. So, black man, you gotta want for Pookie what you want for yourself. Oh, that's a problem. Everything I'm about to say, you already know it to be true. You are a slave. You are a slave to money, to social economics, to status, to politics, to ideology. You have sold your soul to have a place in a world order that you should naturally oppose. Whoa now, whoa now, whoa now. Welcome back to the Black Elf. I'm your boy, Brother Kush. Now, before I get into this, man, like the video, share the video, subscribe to the channel, man. Hit the bell icon to receive notification when I drop more videos. If you don't hit the bell icon, you will have to come back to the channel to see if I drop videos. Y'all not checking on the channel, man. Y'all not hitting the bell icon. Y'all not checking on the channel. I know why, though. First of all, YouTube is not going to shove my videos down your throat. I'm not triggering the algorithm. Second of all, y'all don't want to hear the truth. Now, let me get into this here and why I want to talk about this topic. You know, this journalist named TORRAINE Walker, right? He was on Dr. T. Hassan Johnson's page, right? The Honest Report. He was on his channel. And T. Hassan asked him about the front line in activism. And TORRAINE said that, you know, basically, you know, you have activism in the streets, but the real negotiations go on behind doors, behind the scene. That's where the negotiations go on. And this is something that I mentioned on a video recently and lost 5 subscribers. I tell you no lie. I mentioned about this negotiating with these devils. That's the problem, that too many of y'all are looking to just compromise. And the dude actually used that word. You know what? I'm going to let y'all hear what he said. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to play it for y'all, let y'all hear what he said, and let's go from there.
What are your thoughts about the front line as it pertains to the current moment? Do you think the street is the only front line or the only front line of relevance? What are your thoughts about what activism is going to mean going forward in terms of identifying the front line?
The front line is absolutely not the street protests. If you look back at the history of public protests in America, there's always been the level of public agitation and private negotiation. That's always happened. If you go back and if we bring it up to the 60s, while people were protesting in the streets in Selma and in Birmingham and voting with their feet and voting with their wallets, there were people like A. Philip Randolph and James Farmer and Martin Luther King who were having those street protests, but they were going into private chambers to negotiate with the white power structures to see what we can do to negotiate this movement to get some sort of concession. There's yelling on the street, and then there's negotiations sitting face to face, and you have to have both of those. Sometimes it's having conversations away from the public, away from the news media, to where we can negotiate and try to figure out some sort of settlement that day.
Now let me cut in right quick, because there's some things that I noticed when I was editing the video that I missed when I actually recorded the video, and it's very important that I highlight these points because they are cut out of the edited version of the video. So I need to highlight these points. This dude actually said that the people in the streets are not the front line. He said that the front line of the protests are the ones that are negotiating behind the scene, away from the public, away from the cameras. That they are actually the front line. Now think about that. What kind of twisted logic do you have to reach the conclusion that the people that are risking their physical lives out there trying to protest a cause to benefit all of us are not the front line? and that the people that are sitting in the air condition, talking to the white folks over steak dinners, that are sitting down there eating with these crackers, laughing and kikiing with these crackers, that they are actually the real activists. I want you to think about what this dude is saying, because this goes to what I'm trying to tell y'all, that the problem with us is that these people that lead us have been leading us down a road to nowhere for over 160 years. Y'all are going to respect my mind. I'm telling y'all the truth. Y'all are going to respect my mind. Now, the next point I want to highlight is, who picked these people to negotiate on our behalf? Who gave these people the right to speak for all of us? Who gave these people the right to come out and get in front of movements that they had nothing to do with and go behind the scenes, away from the public, away from cameras, and negotiate on our behalf when they had nothing to do with the event to begin with? See, this is the problem, man. This is the problem. These people are not our representatives. They are not today, and they never were. But for some reason, we allowed them to play the role of our representatives. We need to do better as a people. We need to stop letting these people represent us. We need to make it clear that they don't represent us, that they don't speak on our behalf. And any movement that starts in the streets need to stay in the streets. If it's the street dudes that get it crunked off, that get it kicked off, the street dudes need to maintain it. The people in the suits should not be able to come in and co-opt anything that we start and go behind scenes away from us and talk on our behalf. Because what are they negotiating for? This is why nothing has changed, people. This is why nothing has changed. Now, let me get back to the video. Now, it's very important to understand the words that he used, because this is the thing that I was talking about. These negotiations behind the scene in order to get concessions. That's a word the dude used. Now, I'm going to show you what a concession is. See, because y'all got to understand, when these dudes talk, these are educated Negroes. They are saying the right words. The problem is most of y'all don't know what the words mean. So as you see right here, concession, right? It's a special right or privilege granted by an authority. So when you are seeking a concession from this system, you are recognizing them as the rightful authority over you, and you are basically asking them for a special right or privilege. And what right or privilege are you asking for? The right to be left alone? The right to be treated with dignity? The right to be treated, or the privilege to be treated like a human being? You see, this is the problem with these forms of activism. He also said, let me pull this up, because he said a lot there. He used words like private negotiation. He also mentioned that when they was having like these marches in the streets, these protests during Martin Luther King's time, that they had people behind the scene. He mentioned Philip Randolph and James Farmer. I'm not even familiar who James Farmer is. You know, and Martin Luther King, how they would enter the private chambers to negotiate with the white power structure. This is what he said. But again, if you are negotiating with the power structure, then you are recognizing them as an authority over you, a rightful authority over you. And what Brother Kush is trying to tell you is that they are not a rightful authority over you, and we don't need to negotiate with them. This is what I'm talking about. What I'm saying is that we need to stop negotiating with them. We need to stop talking to them. We need to stop talking with them. We need to make them come to the table and negotiate with us. We need to make them come to us and ask us for concessions. You know, he used the word settlement again. Let me show you what settlement means, because I don't think, you know, these niggas be using these terms, man. You know what I'm saying? They know exactly what they're saying. And you got to use the legal definition of the term. Let me put up the legal definition of the term settlement so y'all can see this here. A legal term, the definition of settlement, right, is a compromise. You see it right there. In law, it's a compromise or agreement between litigants to settle the matter in dispute between them in order to dispose of and conclude their litigation. Generally, as a result of the settlement, prosecution of the action is withdrawn, dismissed without any judgment being entered. Now, what this means is that there's no real authoritative resolution. When you seek a settlement in legal terms, What you are seeking is a handshake type agreement that these people are going to go back on. Every treaty they made with the indigenous blacks when they came, they have abrogated them. Every last one of them. They have abrogated every last one of them. So you can't trust them. Every treaties, right? So when you do a handshake type agreement with these people, they're going to stab you in the back. And this is why nothing has changed for us, man. Like, and I just did this video, you know, the thumbnail, 160 years, and we're still on the road to nowhere. This is because, man, we trying to negotiate with these people, and y'all don't understand the nature of their power. They are not going to negotiate anything that's unfavorable to them. And anything favorable to them is unfavorable to you. It's just that simple. I told you, this is a zero-sums situation. Any inch they give us is a mile they feel taken away from them, and they're not going to give it. It's not in their nature to give. I mean, it's just not how they operate. They take and take and take and take some more. It is not in their nature to give an inch. They don't negotiate in good faith. They don't ever go into contractual agreements or give concessions or settlements that are actually favorable to somebody else. So now this is what I made the women mad about. I had a few females unsubscribe too. This is what they get mad about. When I say we don't need to have women leading anything, because any negotiational terms that these people throw out at women, they'll take it as a sign of some type of progress. That's just the nature of the female. They'll be like, okay, well, it's better than nothing. And see, men don't think like that. Men are more all or nothing. You know what I'm saying? We don't want a little something that's better than nothing, because a lot of times it's still nothing. And that's what we end up with. We got all these male leaders, and I'm not blaming females. I'm not saying that we've never had men to do this, but I'm telling you, they operate in a female energy. And I'm going to prove it. I'm going to prove it right now. Let's talk about the fundamental nature of a man. If a man has somebody trespassing on them, encroaching on them, bothering them, threatening them, how does a man deal with that? Does the man negotiate peacefully and say, okay, you can't punch me, but you can slap me? Okay, look, this is my yard, but you want to take some of it. Okay, you can have that much of it, but leave me this. See, that's not how men negotiate. A man is like, you gonna get up off my property, I'm about to smoke you. That's a man's mentality. You're not about to touch me. In fact, you're not about to look at me too hard, or we gonna get him up. That's a man's mentality. So when you got males that are negotiating in the feminine energy, what they are looking for is concessions. They're looking for settlements. They're looking to negotiate terms with the power structure. But a man recognizes no power structure other than Allah, other than God. And that's the difference. A man has no recognizable power structure over him. Yeah, we live in a system. We're trapped inside this system. But I'm telling you, we need to get outside of it, man. And negotiating with them is not going to get us outside of it. We need to demand our human rights. We need to declare our proper status as indigenous Americans and demand our human rights as indigenous people. This is what I was trying to tell y'all, that this is the mindset of these people. They recognize the white folks as the power structure. They recognize this. They don't recognize God as their power structure. They don't see themselves as being human beings deserving of human rights. They recognize an authority over them. So this is where our first mistake comes in at. See, it's not till you stop thinking like a slave can you be treated like a free person. And that's the problem. As long as you think as a slave, you cannot be treated as a free person. And only a slave will go try to make concessions, try to get concessions from somebody. Only a slave would go try to figure out a way to negotiate a settlement with some power structure. They are not our power structure, bro. They're not they're a government. I mean, who are they? And see, this is another problem. You always get these wannabe smart niggas. Who is they? That's the problem. Who is they? Who is the government? Who are these people that we bow to? Most of them, we don't have a name or face to put to it. It's just nothingness. It's the system. The they is the system, and that's the problem. This system is ran by humans. It is ran and maintained by human beings with a very, very specific mindset in the way they approach life. They are extremely classist and even more racist, and that's a problem. And I have to put the classes in there because it's important for white folks to understand that they don't care about y'all either. Y'all are just tools. Y'all are tools to keep the people divided. Y'all so eagerly triggered towards hate for other people that y'all stoke up all this social civil unrest and social unrest, that this is what they need. They need to maintain the division so a conquered people can, a divided people are conquered. And until we start looking at each other as human beings and wanting for that black man, as a white man I'm talking about, wanting for that black man what you want for yourself, until we get to that point, it's not going to change. But guess what? It's not going to change because white men are never going to look at it like that. They're never going to want you to have what they want. They will rather not have it than to see you with it. It's the way these people think, because the people that's in control of the system are still from that same stock. It's how they think. They will rather burn this thing down than to see you smile, than to see you live comfortably. And that's all of us. They'd rather burn it down to see anybody, you know what I'm saying, outside that little 0.5% that slithers through. That's all they have room for. Maybe 1% total. They don't have room for nobody else. Everybody else need to struggle. Everybody else need to be in a rat race. Everybody else need to be on a hamster wheel. This is how these people think. And they're not going to ever change this system to do anything else but pressure us and keep us as slaves. Because that's the only way the class at the top can maintain their position at the top, is to make sure that we are always these stressed out, depressed, you know what I'm saying, under duress, you know, agitated. That they got to do this. It's how they survive. They're like some type of demon that eats off our misery. So they're going to keep it so that we are always miserable, because this condition benefits them and only them. But the point I was making is that the white folks are never going to want for you what they want for themselves, which means we as black men got to want for your brother what you want for yourself. Now we're going back to that video I literally just did. I'm telling you, y'all got to check on the channel, man. And look, the people that come to the channel, I do see y'all like the video. All y'all need to like the video. Look, man, even if you disagree with it, like the video anyway. Help the algorithm. Even if you disagree with it, leave a comment. And the comment don't have to be words. Just drop a smiley. All of this helps the algorithm. The conversations that I am having is one that we need, because I am the only one talking like this. And until you start pointing out who the real culprits are, it's not going to change. This is a very specific problem that starts from a particular people with a very, very, very singular mindset. They want to be our gods. And when you acknowledge them as your ruler by trying to negotiate with them for your fundamental human rights, you are basically admitting that they are your gods. I'm telling you, we don't need them to give us permission to live as human beings. I'm telling you this. We don't need their permission, but we do need some unity. And this goes back to the video that I did. We need some unity. So, black man, you gotta want for Pookie what you want for yourself. Oh, that's a problem. We have to change the way we think. We don't have to stay trapped in this mindset, man. We don't have to beg these people for our right, our God-given rights to be human being. We don't have to ask their permission for that. We don't have to do any of this. All we got to do is declare our proper legal status, right? as indigenous earthlings. Because they're not indigenous to this land. You got to understand them. They have no real legal rights to the land. This is why they got to trick us. We got to understand that the success of one depends on the success of the collective. If we are not successful collectively, then we're not successful individually. It's just the way it is. So you gotta want for your brother what you want for yourself. See, and that's the difference between me and a lot of these dudes. I honestly want for my brothers what I want for myself. Y'all ain't hearing me. On that note, I'm done, bro. I'm done. If you want to support the channel financially, man, Cash App, $ the Black Alpha, Venmo at the Black Alpha, and PayPal, realblackalpha@gmail.com. You want to hit me up behind the scenes, man, Telegram. Do Telegram before you do the email, because, I mean, honestly, I barely check that email, but I do. The Telegram comes to my phone. You know what I'm saying? So hit me up on Telegram at black_alpha. Telegram is completely anonymous. I don't get your number. You don't get mine. On that note, I'm out of here, man. Brother Kush, a.k.a. the Black Alpha. Salam.